a pot pan she hair and gone. Them a the first one out on the dam. Basket pan she head, bucket in each hand. Hold up and she frack, I wanna she grandson. To the market, them a go. For the morning, the day is dawning. For cockcrow to give the villagers a warning. Rise and shine, the birds them a sing. All animal take turn as them join in the waking. Cockcrow, dagabag, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Cockcrow, dagabag, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Come and hear this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. All day a back down, me now a come home. The naga jackass yard for fetchy load. Cockle shy hand, bag over shoulder, running by his side, a Rexy and Rover. From the farm, them a come. Sun a go down but up the river. Some washing clothes, some folks are bathing at the water. Fisherman.
Good afternoon, one and all. We are here this afternoon or evening once more with the BV Triumph report. Today is the last Sunday in May. It's the last Sunday before our independence celebrations. I would like to really say to all Guyanese and to all Baronians, a happy independence to you all, day to you all. And with that, I will introduce to you a song we all sang 56 years ago as we celebrated independence, a song by a person who lived in BV, and who made his mark on our community.
We welcome, oh we welcome independence to Guyana. Everybody, jump and be merry, oh we welcome independence to Guyana. Thank you, Britain, for the years of colonial ruling. We now sing songs of praise to remember those happy British days. Independence has its purpose, which will not be a racial curse. We know there'll be ups and downs, but the natives will soon settle down. We welcome, oh we welcome, oh we welcome independence to Guyana. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody, jump and be merry. So we welcome independence to Guyana. Opa, let's go now, come on. Independence to Guyana. Everybody, jump and be merry. So we welcome independence to Guyana. Hip hip hip, hooray! Hip hip hip, hooray! Hip hip hip, hooray! Oh we welcome independence to Guyana. Everybody, jump and be merry.
Yes, that's our own Terry Nelson. I say our own because he lived there for quite a few years. But when he returned from England to resettle in Guyana, he established the Algala Studios, which today is now the AGP Channel 16 television station, You know, Terry did us quite proud. We all sang this song in 1966. Yes, that was Terry Nelson, aka Omar Farouk, singing for you. We welcome independence to Guyana. Yes, so this week we will be going into independence celebrations mode throughout the length and breadth of Guyana. And it's time to reflect. You know, Terry has done us proud. He, at the time of our independence and immediately thereafter, he had established a studio in BV from which he produced quite a few number of Guyanese artists. Many people came and they did their things at Terry's studio. You know, Alagala man, we called him back in the time. And Terry did us proud. You know, so it's fitting that I open today's program with Terry. You know, so I do hope, you know, what Terry has contributed to this community, we can recognize. He has left us with a television studio in BV, the only one on the East Coast, and it is again bringing BV in focus. And you know, the thing is, people coming to BV must feel proud that they are here among people who passed before them. You know, the things that people who passed before them have done. And that's what many of our own born Baronians are not doing. But let's see, maybe in time we can get that situation rectified. And I do hope that it will be done in time. We need to continue, as a good friend of mine say, educate, educate, educate. Unless we do that, we are doomed to repeat mistakes of the past. So now I will also follow up that first Terry Nelson song with one of his productions where he produced for a young lady, Nisha Benjamin. You know, Nisha did, I mean, Terry did not only promote his own self, he promoted others. Nisha also, sorry, you know, so here we are.
My only sweetheart, Benji, darling, we'll never part. If we were to marry,
Yes, coming out of BV Triumph back in time where we had Miss Nisha Benjamin cooperating with Terry Nelson to produce that song, Benji Darling. This is to show you what happens, what can happen in our community when people come together. These people have done us proud, and we need to reflect on them and we need to emulate them. So now, as norm per norm, I would like to report on our last council meeting. At the last council meeting, we still had some issues which we've been discussing for the past few months, unresolved. And one of the issues that is still unresolved is the repayment of John Finance. The council meeting before this one, a decision was taken after it was not done for two council meetings, two meetings before, to repay Mr. Finance and Company, John Finance and Company. Yet we were told that documents that should have been sent to John Finance, inviting them to a meeting so that they can have a discussion over this repayment, which is something above my head, because I cannot understand if you erred in attempting to sell something which was not yours. The logical thing to do is just give back the person the money. But we are hearing that in order to give back that money, we have to write John Finance and agree with them that they will take back the money because we can be sued. I don't know why that is so. I am not legally inclined, but I will go along with it. But I went along with it, I should say, but now it's getting overbearing because on our side, we are not writing, even though that the decisions was that we will have to write them. So what is preventing us from writing? I don't know. Hello, Jillian, how are you doing, my dear? And Ingrid, good evening. The ladies are coming out to be part with us. Yeah, so I don't know if anybody, any of you two ladies can, if you're into the field of accounting, can explain to the rest of the village why it is that if somebody paid an agency some monies for something which was not possible because the agency made a mistake and attempted to sell something which did not belong to them, and the person who was gullible enough, I would want to say, to accept that package, when you consider the quantum of land, it was more or less a gift. So you had to be gullible to believe that it could have been sold for that kind of money. You're looking at 140 something acres of land, or 147, yes, acres of land to be sold for 35 million Guyana dollars. No, you had to be gullible to believe that that would have been a possibility. So if that is so, then I'm saying that they should understand that there is a need to do something about getting back their money. But as it stands, we cannot repay John Finance yet. And I fear that the longer we wait, something disastrous can happen to our community. Our community can be embroiled in a legal tussle, which we do not want to be embroiled in, because those people who put our community there, they are, what should I say, reckless, and they will walk and leave us in the pocketry, as my mother would have said, right? Now, there is another issue that came up at council, that the issue of this letter being written by some lawyer demanding that our client be afforded to continue his agreement with the council. That letter, I'm sad to say, we have not written, we have not been able to communicate with that lawyer to have clarity on the old issue, right? I see Terry is there. I guess it's one of his sons. So, hey, big up to Terry. I just played Senior Terry's big song. We welcome independence to Guyana. This is Independence Week. So I was talking then about the legacy that your father left with us in the village, where he cooperated with Nisha to do Benji Darling. That's one of his productions I also played. And, you know, we need to follow in the footsteps of such giants in this community instead of walking behind some of these mendicants that we have today, calling themselves village leaders. You know. Yeah, so back to what I was saying about this refund business. So now we have this letter coming from a lawyer saying that our client has paid the council $20 million and he or she is willing and ready to conclude a deal. Again, there's some static, and I wonder why. You know, so as I said, we can find ourselves at the wrong end of the stick if these people at our council hall does not do the right thing by us. You know, I must also say that the man who has been pushing these things very, very vociferous, he has been absent from meetings, the last two meetings. I know, and I wonder why. You know, maybe he's trying to work out another deal somewhere. You know, so my dear fellow villagers, we have these things. I do not know what action to recommend, but some people say boots on the ground may be the best thing to solve this issue. You know, when people are on marching and when people come out and make their voices heard, then things may happen. You know, so I will not tell you what to do, but I'm just bringing you the facts that we are in dire straits with regards to our inheritance from those lands in the backland, relative to those backlands. And until our council can make it right, we need to be going after them for some reason or the other until that can be done. You know, now there are other issues which I would like to really bring up. Something again which I started discussing 2 meetings back, not this last meeting, 2 meetings prior. That is the issue pertaining to structures going up, structures that are not conforming to the requirements that our bylaws will stipulate. We have structures going up around the village that are definitely violating the bylaws of the village, and something has to be done about it. You know, you ask at the council level, the kind of reasoning you're getting is kind of facetious. You're not you know, I will show you the picture of one such structure. And now this structure is right on the railway embankment. If you notice, this building of the lot to the other boundary. This last meeting would have been the 3rd meeting. I've been querying why this person was allowed to build like that, or why we're allowing him to continue to build like that. When village bylaws states that you must be some distance away. This is a calculated distance based on the width of the land and the depth of the land away from the boundaries of the land. But this person chose to build from boundary to boundary. When I queried it, I was told that his plans are with CHMPA. Even if the plans are with CHMPA, the onus is on the council to exercise a cease order, to ask him to wait until that plan comes back from CHMPA. Lo and behold, I saw the document that came back from CHMPA, and a portion of this building here and a portion here was advised by the environmental office, of environmental health officer, that or department advised that they be demolished, and it is clear in the drawing. But the builder, I don't know what connections he have with those who can support illegalities in this country, continues to build, and our council has done nothing about it. You know, it's not the only building that is in default. You know, there are other buildings within the community that is in default. And I will show you another such building. Another such building is, I'm looking for it. This one, we all know it, the Smiling Supermarket. Again, it is coming from one boundary. If I can split the picture, you will see it goes to the other boundary, right? Let me see if I can get the other bound. I picked it. No, basically this building, when it was first established, it closed off there. But in time, the people felt it necessary to go to the boundary, to that boundary there, and also the other boundary. Yeah, so basically what I'm seeing is that it's a question of monkey see, monkey do, because there is a similar situation that exists within the village. And I will not show the picture of that one now, because I was already accused of picking on somebody. No. No, I do not like to be picking on people, right? Because people feel that because I see things and I talk about it, I'm the only one with a problem. But I can assure you, there are many others in this community that have problems with what's going on. And I do hope that some of you who have problems with what's going on, you will be able to voice your opinion either at this forum or come to the district council office and voice your dissatisfaction at some point in time. So, Jillian, I'm sorry that your connection is bad, but that is what we all suffer in this place. Sometimes you pay for a service and you never get that service, you know. You know, so that's the kind of thing that we are faced with a lot in Guyana. One of the persons who were on the Zoom just indicated to me that she had to leave the Zoom because she was cutting in and out. The service is bad, you know. So as I'm saying, we need to lift our voices, because when good men remain silent, that is when the bad things seems right. Because if you see people doing wrong and you do not raise your voice, then society will be accustomed to accepting that which is bad. And I think it's time we in BV start talking more about what is bad. I'm not saying that everything in BV is bad. There are many good things in BV, things that we are still proud of, right? Can still be proud of. But, we need to point out that where you go. And the thing is, you may tell a person that he's doing something wrong, but you do not have to make it a personal issue. You do not have to stop supporting him in other ventures. For instance, I heard a story some time back, and it is something which I've lived with, I've practiced. An older colleague of mine said he lived in England at the time, and there were two Jews who everybody in the community knew were at loggerheads. So, but he being fresh in the community, he did not know what was the issue. So, but he would see this Jew man going into the other Jew man's shop, and he would point to whatever he wants, and they will pick it up. They will give him, exchange whatever monies have to be exchanged, and he walked away. So one day he was asking another, why this man, he cannot talk? He said, yes, he can talk, but himself and the other Jew man behind the counter, they don't talk. But he still supports his business. He goes in, he points to what he wants, and it's given, he hands over his money. So in other words, what I'm saying, you must support your own, even though you may have issues. So if I'm from BV and you're from BV, or Jack is from BV and Tom is from BV, you support the BV man in whatever you're doing, wherever possible. But you may have your differences. Let those differences do not come between you and him at that level, right? You may have your differences in opinion over something, right? Like, for instance, you may have your differences in how he has treated a friend of yours, or how he has treated a neighbor or something, but you continue to support him in whatever venture he is in. And that is what some people cannot understand. I have been faced with, you're discussing things about somebody, and they say, me, I won't do this. I won't spend a cent with in his shop because of so. I say, no, you do. That is not the thing. You may not like him for one reason, but that doesn't mean that you should, because when you don't support him, you're supporting somebody else who is not of your kind, right? So behave yourselves, be Baronians, and support Baronian businesses. That's all I'm saying on that score. Yes, Terry, can I have a word from you as you're here? Oh, Terry is gone too. I see Owen and Sherlock, and only the three of us are here today. Owen, how are things with you?
Not too bad, I've just tuned in because I said earlier this afternoon too that I was had a meeting to go to, so I just returned and decided to tune in. So things are okay with me right now.
Okay.
I'm just trying to grasp what the conversation is.
The conversation is just about things happening in the village. I would do this session twice a month. The first session would be where we try to get information, I try to garner information as to questions to be raised at council level. And the second meeting, which is today is the second meeting, I report back on things that were discussed at council. So I've looked at 2 issues so far that were discussed at council. one pertaining to buildings which are in default of the bylaws of the community, and the other pertaining to our backlands. You know, Owen, you are Baronian, you may not be living in the village, but I know you still have be at the center of your art. So I guess that's why you have tuned in, you know.
Yeah, because I'm always interested in music. Like you rightly said, I am a Baronian, and to make it a bit more expressive, no chance delivery.
Buy enough of it could say so.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about,
Then
right?
enough of God teaching me school too.
All right, all right, you got it right. Okay.
All right. So
However, um, one of the things I'm concerned about, I know that whenever there is some form of development in any country, any area, or whatever, once there's a form of development, I know there are sacrifices that have got to be made.
yes.
At
When you
present,
mind showing your picture so people could see you and know who you're talking, because some people might not know you.
okay, yes, no, let me get back. Uh, ah, hold on.
Yes, my brother. I'm not hearing you.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry. Like
okay.
your
The
audio
mic,
and
the
your
mic was,
video,
the mic,
like
the
your
mic
audio
was
and your
muted.
video
Was
don't
muted,
work.
huh?
Okay.
You're not seeing me now.
Yes, I'm not seeing you now. Yes, I'm seeing
Yeah,
we're seeing you now.
you see me now.
Yeah.
Right, good, yeah. What I'm talking about here is with the construction of these bridges, right? Well, I think one has been completed as the one out to the public road. That's the wooden one. We got these two concrete bridges on the embankment. Now, like I said, whenever there is development, there has got to be some form or degree of sacrifice. The sacrifice
Yes.
here is the, should I use the word inconvenience of using that railway embankment because the bridges were dismantled and now in reconstruction. Now we have to make a diversion, and that diversion there is actually is through your street, right?
Mm-hmm.
So get back now and through your street onto the through a drive and then get back on the railway in the embankment.
Yeah.
Now, as it is now, through that street is in a mess. I think that's supposed to be Jardine Street, right?
Yeah, Jardine Street. Well, you see
Right.
that the council do not have much say on that, but I think the public works or public infrastructure ministry, I'm not sure which one it's called, should have been in consultation with the community, and they should have worked out a better methodology, because they could have directed 90% of the traffic to the public road, which is now happening because of the second set of bridges between
That
LBI
is
and
being done.
Mago that have been done, because now the people will have to go out. They cannot go out, and if they come through my street, they still have to go on the public road. So by now, people who are frequent travelers, they all go out, but then we still have the few coming through Jardine Street, and which is in a mess, as you, I think that's what you wanted to raise.
That is
You see,
exactly, yeah, that's the
and
point I'm raising, right? Because that, and you have this other street as well, which would be St. Peter's Street.
St. Peter's Street, yes.
Just, yeah, just to the junction of St. Peter's and Pomino Road, right? I
Mm-hmm.
saw a very big pothole is emanating there right now, just on the
Well,
torrent. All right.
Well,
Yeah, that
you know,
because all the traffic are diverting to there,
I
right?
do hope.
My thing is this, right? My thing is this. Yeah, listen. My thing is this. Like I'm saying, and I repeat myself. Whenever there's development, sacrifices have got to be made. Okay,
Mhm.
fine. I can go with that. I accept that. Point is, I'm hoping that when these bridges are done, the streets can be looked after, if not maintained.
Well,
You know, because it- so many times you see work has been done, diversion has been made, and when this has been happened, after the work is completed, these streets are left to the mercy of the normal users. You know, so I'm only hoping that I think it should be public infrastructure doing the work. I'm only hoping that they can have those streets mended, if not done over and put in a better condition. That's my concern, my point of this right now. I'm not I'm not hearing.
yeah, I'm saying I'm hoping that
Yeah.
the council, even though it may not have been consulted by the ministry, remedial works are done to the roads that you've mentioned. I'm aware
Uh,
that Garden Street is slated to be done, though I cannot say why Garden Street was slated to be done prior to this thing, but now the need is exactly there. But we have August Street, which feeds into Garden Street going south, that needs to be done. And I don't
yeah.
know why the council did not approach central government to have that street done when at the same time they approach central government to have Jardine Street done. And that is what I think, again, as I said earlier,
Yeah.
maybe the villagers need to have boots on the ground to get things done, right? We need to be the people in the community need to be very proactive because things are happening over our heads and we seems not to have any say in it.
Yeah, that street is in a deplorable state indeed. That same over street, right? And if I can recall, over the couple of years, I can recall that street was done twice. I can recall, and in those times, the street never really stood up. It never
Well,
really stood up.
it's a question of you pay peanuts and you get and that's what you get.
Right? Because I mean, there again, you need to have genuine contractors, or let me don't blame so much the contractors because, as you mentioned just now, you pay peanuts. Now, if the
outside
consultant
of that
project,
outside
right?
of
I'm
that
saying, yeah,
outside of that
if the
I
uh,
sorry outside of that I am aware a few years back a group of engineers had approached the council, including one Mr. Frank, who is now not too well, had approached the council to
yeah,
give the council advice and support in doing these infrastructure works. But people on the
yeah,
council did not accept that proposal. I will act as I'm on the council now. I will raise that issue again to see if they will
hmm,
accept. I don't know if I can still contact all of those engineers. Some may still be in the community, some may not. But I will speak to those who are still here and can still work, right? To lend
yeah,
that support. No, as you said, rightly
yeah,
said, we need genuine contractors also. in the community.
Yeah, but let me make this point clear, right? In most cases, and I emphasize, genuine contractors work to the specimens they being given. All
Yeah.
right? They work to the contractors they're being given, right?
Yes.
And the quantity that is being given. They work to that. And I emphasize
Yes.
genuine contractors does so, right? But if the consultant or the engineer who prepared this contract does not um, does not give you the correct profile of the road, right? And for those who may not fully understand what I mean by profile, the profile of the road would be so many inches of sand, so many inches of loam, so many inches of crusher run, so many inches of asphalt. All right. Now, if you do not have the specified amount, then you'll find your road of being destroyed quickly, right? Secondly, if you do not have proper drains, that can cause a problem of erosion, hence your road going again, right? So these are things you need to look at when you're doing any construction of roads. You must have those things in its right perspective.
You see, you
Failing to do
mentioned
so, you have to
drainage.
repair your road. Yeah.
You mentioned drainage, my brother. And the thing is,
Mhm.
it's one of the major issues in that same Ogle Street, where we have bridges, many of which are even below the water level, or the road level, I should
Uh,
say, not the
well,
water level,
yeah.
the road level, and the the drains are raised when it comes near to the, so like the other day they had some cleaning done, but there was no cleaning under the bridges, so we could not have gotten the kind of flow in the water that we
Yep.
anticipated, you know.
hmm hmm So that would cause a problem. And then another thing you have to look at too is a lot of people right now are going this way, which is good to have concrete drains, right? Having concrete drains are good, but in so doing, you need to have the right invert of the drain so that at the bottom of the drain you must have one level going through, not one body drain high and between two lots you find the drain is lower, and it keep going up and down, up and down. You'll have a problem with the flow of draining,
We know that.
right?
In
So
fact,
this is
I've been
those
suffering from that for the past year and a half in my
right.
immediate neighborhood,
Uh-huh.
because somebody built a drain at the end of my Jardine Street, a concrete drain, and that drain has been causing a stagnation. The drain was filled with debris when it was inspected recently. Apart from the invert, as you call it, the drain, it's it was also filled of debris. Whoever they built it, they did not clear out the building waste. All those builders' waste remained in that drain for the past year and a half. Thank God of late we've been getting water moving, but I don't know. I'll have to wait and see what happens immediately after the rains go.
Yeah, yeah. So those are things we need to look at if we want to have a better or a proper community, because road drainage are the two most important
Yeah.
things within any community.
Another area, as we are talking about works done in the
Mm.
community, we've had some works done on the playground. I mean, the playground was considered emergency works, and these works were done in preparation for Easter Monday. And would you
Uh-huh.
believe that the works was classified as emergency, so there was no contract prepared, no quantities prepared for the works to be done, but the contractor was allowed to do works in what is considered an emergency, quote unquote, situation. And up to last Thursday, no bill was proffered to the council as to the cost. I mean, how can we operate like that? If the man, as he was going, or the council was doing this emergency work, the person who dished out this emergency contract should have had some way of measuring what was done along the way, and by now, with the contractor, arrive at a cost.
My friend, that is what I would call doggery.
Skullduggery.
Somebody is out to make money.
Well, I
Because
didn't think
you
about
can't
that
be
one at all.
You can't be spending other people's money without any proper we call it representation of it.
You see, the thing is,
You need if you will do it.
the thing was, it's considered, because of COVID, we had to do something for Easter. Now that things are freed up a bit, but I'm saying you knew that things would have been relaxed long before Easter. You knew that budget was being read in February month or something like that. You knew what sort of monies you could have had that project on the slate, prepared and ready to go. But we did not do that. We waited 2 weeks before Easter or 3 weeks before Easter, get the contract in, go, without even having a basic rudimentary idea of what it may cost. So today, if that contractor comes in with a cost of $100 million, we'll have to pay. Well, I'm saying we'll have to pay because you did not measure his works. You had no one measuring his works, you know.
Which is bad.
I mean, our council is really lacking, and our council needs to do better.
Because every contract is supposed to be paid by the quantity. Right? It's supposed to be paid.
I know there
by
are
the quantity.
situations that we can deem emergency. We can deem situations like a flood. We can deem that emergency. We can deem the breakage of the seawall emergency. Or the crashing of a vehicle into a lamppost where you have to go and remove the lamppost emergency. But here you have a playground to do works on. I am not accepting that as emergency, and I've let them know. It's known that it's not in my books, it's not emergency, but the majority rules. It's a democratic situation, so majority rules. I asked the question last Thursday, what was the cost? We ain't get the bill from the contractor yet. Was the response.
Hey, I guess you have to fasten your seatbelt and wait for it.
Aye. BV. Go beyond the BV.
Okay, even if you have let's say this. Let's just deem it, even though you don't have to agree, but I'm just saying something. Let's deem it as an emergency work. Okay? Fine. You disburse money, or whether you disburse money or the contractor decide to invest his money so that you can reimburse it at the end of the project. Now you must have had someone out there who were looking at the work, if not directing the work, right? And taking quantity.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Someone observing and taking measurements of what is being done.
Because these work, whatever the work you do, your payments are to be done or to be made by measured work. That's why your payments are made up, by measured work. Now the contractor can say, well, look, I cast 30 cubic yards of concrete and you cast 13. If he cast less than 13 and he claims for 30, now what happens here? What happens
And that
here?
one you can make,
It
you
means
can
that
still probably go and make a post-mortem check. You can bore the concrete and measure the depths at different points and come up with an average depth, measure around the
but
perimeters, blah, blah, blah.
why would you want why would you want to go through all of that?
No. If
You're
there's a
putting
major
yourself under
dispute.
pressure. No, you're putting.
Yes, I
Well, no,
understand
my
that.
point is, my point is, this could have been avoided if you have persons out here measuring the work as it goes along.
Yes,
You
I
understand?
agree totally.
These are things you need. These are things you need to put in place, right? If not, you're putting yourself under tremendous pressure,
You know.
right? I mean, look, I'm out there and we doing road work out there. All right. Um, like I said, road works are being done by profile. The contractor can say he did so much, so much inches of sand, loom, or whatever. No, we do what we call a borehole, and we measured the work, not the amount of stuff he uses, right? And we can determine, okay? But the thing is about it, you don't want to actually go through that kind of thing, right? Because like I said before, it can be unnecessary work. You don't need to, but as the contractor works along, you know to himself, because funny enough, let's say for example, because I've been following the minister Edger, right? Being public minister infrastructure. He has some idea of construction, right? And he's the man when he gets on the ground, he loves to ask questions. He loves to ask questions. Right? And if he come out there and he see what's going on, and he might ask, what's the thickness of concrete? You don't know. You're going to bore hole now. You're going to bore the concrete now for me and tell you what's the thickness of concrete. These are things that should be avoided. This should be avoided, right? So even if you're doing emergency work, you need to have systems in place to measure your work, so you know how your money spending. You know what you're paying for.
Yes, I mean,
Right?
you do landscaping. How do you say how much? How do you pay the man for landscaping? How do you pay the man? I mean, a lot of things you cannot go after the fact and deal with.
Exactly.
And that's what we are faced with.
Exactly. Because you're doing landscaping, right? You gotta be paid by look how many square yards you did or any square meters, whatever. You understand? You need to know these things. When the work finished, then you're going to measure. But there's these things. I mean, it's not professional, and it's not acceptable for the that. So these are things. I guess the members of Congress would have to look into and try to get it right.
Yeah.
But
anyhow, outside some other things that are still outstanding that we looked at is this problem with Gafoor and BM suits. I will bring up pictures of both situations. No, this is Gafoor in Gafoor has houses behind there in which his workers are living. I know that this is an industrial estate, and within an industrial estate, there's no reason, or the council do not permit dwellings. But Gafoor has a number of workers living within these structures that you see in the well. They only seen 2 of them, but there are more than 2. at the moment,
Okay.
right? So
Uh-huh.
this again, our council is not taking on board. The shed that is there, as far
Uh-huh.
as we are hearing at council level, it's an illegal shed, but no one is taking actions to take it down. I am imploring the council to approach central government to assist us in getting it done,
Yep, yep, yep. We
right?
need to.
But again,
We need to.
people are reluctant, those people who should be writing the documents to central government, that is the chairman or the overseer, because as an ordinary council, it's not within my purview to write letters. They are reluctant to do what is necessary. I don't know why, right? I think the villagers need to be proactive and inquire of the council why these structures are there, right?
Mhm.
Because one morning we may find that the gate to these structures that lead into this neighborhood will be closed to all Baronians, right? It will be
Exactly.
with assigned private property. In fact, in the
Uh-huh.
evenings, it's closed. So if you want to go to the seawall, you have to find another route. But I think soon it
I
will
think
be
you might find.
totally considered private property because Gafford may build
Well,
which go through.
yeah, that reminds me of another private property that I saw a sign up opposite the JD supermarket on the pavement. The
Well, that
concreted piece of smart private property. I mean, funny, strange.
well, that property sign, I am being the other day because on that same area, garbage is left. And I'm saying
Uh-huh.
that whoever creates garbage or generates garbage should find a mechanism within the boundaries of his property to deal with that garbage and not leave that garbage in front of somebody else's property. Because Mr. Frank, whom I mentioned earlier, who was once a councillor and worked as an engineer with the
Uh-huh.
Guyana Estates, the one who had offered the services to the council free of charge. He is now sick, old and sick, lives in that place. In fact, let me pull up a photograph of what is happening in front of Mr. Frank's yard for us to see.
Mhm. So you have to endure all of that.
Yes, I mean,
You know,
it's like, I think this is it.
it's bad. It's bad because what I can't understand is why the council or how the council's reserve becomes a private property. Can't understand the
Yes,
feel.
that is a photograph taken, not recent. This photograph might have been taken about 3 or 4 back, but that is what exists in front of Mr. Frank's yard, and basically the same is there today.
This is
No,
terrible.
I was
No good at
accused
all.
of personally of attacking the chairman because the business place that creates that garbage is owned by the chairman, and he says to me that you're not living in the immediate vicinity, and none of the neighbors are complaining, including relatives of Mr. Frank. None of them are complaining, but you are complaining. Means that you have
Uh-huh.
a private, personal vendetta or
Personal.
something against me. But, my response to that is simple. As was asked of Cain, when he respond, am I my brother's keeper? Remember Cain asking that question once?
Right.
Am I my brother's keeper?
Yeah.
Well, I am my brother's keeper. I was told because he has a business and he's an African, me Elton McCrae, as a member of ACTA, should be more protective of him. No, any African, if you do wrong, this African, Elton McCrae, will be on your case.
Yeah, you need to. You need to. I won't support that at all of throwing garbage there and keeping it there for days. No, no, no. I won't support that. I won't support that. And as a chairman of the council, you should know better. You should know better as chairman of the council. So that is something that I'm totally against. Right? So I mean, all right. Sometimes or whenever I get a chance, I would listen to complaints or on the news and hear certain things that were happening in BV. Because like I said, BV is my homeland. All right. So despite I'm living in LBI, I still have interest in BV. Right. So I would always listen whenever I passes. I try to observe certain things that have been happening. Right. But the thing is about it, it's only now because of this program you have here, I'm expressing things that I saw or my thoughts, right? Because I don't say anything simply because I'm not living in it, right? As a counselor, I got my job to do open, right? I try to do what I can do. I know I'm not doing the best, but I try to do what I can do. All right? Whenever we have our solitary meetings, I make my voice heard. Even if action has not been taken, my voice is heard. Okay? But like coming back again to DZ, I'm always interested in what's happening in DZ. Right? And trust me, I would have conversations with some members of the council, and I normally be amazed at what the situation. Anyhow, I don't want to get too much into that part of it.
We have been on long, and I think we should. Yes, the time is running, which is not keeping people. And I just want to remind this year, August 1st, after we will be having our Emancipation Festival. Come join us in the National Park, and let's celebrate emancipation this year. And in closing, I will ask our sister to remind us of what the time is. Yes, with that, I will say good evening and goodbye to you all. And till next month, this is the BV Triumph Report. And I will leave you to our image of the coming Emancipation Festival or promotional image. And once again, and good.
Thank you for inviting me to the program, and I look forward to the next meeting.
Thanks, Owen, for coming in, and all those who are looking at the program.
You're welcome.
I didn't share it. Peace. Bye.